Hey there, welcome to another S4 modding tutorial. Today we're going to be going over custom maps. So, let's say I want to add a custom map to the game. I've got one downloaded right here, so let's go ahead and extract this. Then we're going to get all the resources that we need in here, and I'm going to quickly go over how we're going to get that all in there. So, like before, we're going to want to go to our resource tool, NetSphere Explorer. I have mine open over here. I'm going to go to the root directory. Now, let's take a look at those mods again. So as you'll notice with most of the custom maps, they usually tend to mirror the output of the resources folder. So we're going to go ahead and navigate to the resources folder. Everything that needs to be transferred here is in its correct folder for here. So let's just go ahead and get the files transferred. That'll be the first step. So there's new music for this, so we're going to transfer from the BGM folder. I've already copied these over in an earlier tutorial, so I have a lot of these files, but normally you won't be asked to overwrite. Let's go ahead and get the effects copied over. Some maps will have different lighting or animations in them, which you'll often find in the effects folder. This one has quite a few of them, so we're just going to add these here and then overwrite to all. You've also got the image folder. These I messed up. They actually should be in image because the loading folder in the game is only for the initial starting load screens, not for anything else. Level loading icons are actually in the main image folder, as you can see here. So that's where these guys are going to go. Now we've got the level load screens for our new map. So, in the map info folder, we have the map info files, which basically act as definition files for the maps themselves. So if we go ahead and open this one, we can see everything within the map is all defined within this file. Things like the models that appear in the map, the skybox, the map images, the minimap, the song and the song playlist key, which we will come back to later in the tutorial. In fact, for now, we're going to want to take note of this. This is 719. You are able to set whatever BGM key you want here for your map. If you're downloading an existing map, they'll usually have BGM keys set already. But really that number can be anything as long as it matches the rest of the numbers in the system. But we will get to that soon. So we're just going to, for now, take this map definition file and throw that inside of the map info folder. Back to resources. Map select is specifically for room creation. It's that little map preview that you'll see for the preview of the map when you're creating a room. So we'll add our image here. Model. Now model background is where the map assets in the game are stored. So this is the core of the map itself. We are going to want to take all of these and just go ahead and drag them in over here. Now since I've already added this like I mentioned, it's going to take a little while, so we're going to do this to just skip right through all of them. Alright, and that's all now updated in our files. That's all the resources you have to transfer. The resources are the easy part for transferring custom maps. Installing them is a bit of a pain when it comes to the XMLs and the additional data there. So we're going to go over that now. So the next steps with those, we need a couple different files. The first and most important one we're going to need is _EU game info, which is found, not in the resource folder, but the XML folder in the root of your S4 client directory. So we're going to take him out, put him over there. The next files you're going to need are both inside of language. We need static string table.xml and euoption.xml. So we're just going to extract both of these. Lastly, we also need to go inside of the XML folder here and pull out game info string table. This is the last file we'll need for installing a custom map. Alright, now we can let these be for a little bit. So, on to the next steps. We will want to get ready for game info, as that's the first one we're going to want to be editing. So let's crack that open. As you can see, this is where a lot of the map infos are defined. They are bound to a map name key, which we will get to, and then the INI, so the definition file for the map. This is pretty simple. Really all we're going to want to be doing is taking one of these entries and modifying it for our purposes. But before we do that, we do also want to see the data IDs, which is the map entry ID. We want to see what the highest increment for these is, because we want to make sure that we're not using an existing data ID. So what I would recommend is just copying this. Let's go ahead and copy this. Control F. Let's say, I don't know, we want to check and see if 150 is in use. 150 is not in use. Let's see if maybe 105 is in use. 105 is in use. So let's just do 150 for our new map ID. So general rule of thumb is whatever kind of map you're adding, you can just grab an existing entry from here and modify it. So say you want to add a TD map, you can grab a TD map like Station 2, Station 1, Old School or something like that, and then copy it and change the information in it. If you're adding a DM map, grab like Needin 1 or Needin 2 or something, and then make the edits there. So for our purposes, our map is mostly DM, and I believe there's a free-for-all variant. Let's see. Which we can find out from here. Yep. So it's DM and free-for-all. We're just going to add the DM one for this tutorial. Free-for-all is basically the same steps. So we're going to find Needin 1. Here we go. It's got the ID of 1. We will copy this. Try to find the end of where the deathmatch maps are. I mean, you can kind of organize this however you want. Doesn't really matter where they are. I prefer to keep these organized personally for my own. City Highway Death. Okay. And then the rest of these, I believe, are Chaser and DM. Oh, no, I see Blockbuster Deathmatch. So we'll increment there. We will copy that. 150 was not in use, so our ID is going to be 150. Map name will be changed soon, so we're just going to remove the 2 for now, and we will fix that when we get to that language file. And the rest of these settings are largely fine. You generally want the whatever respawn type is associated with your game mode. So for DM it's 1. And we're just going to change the map info name. So this is what we have for Needin Halloween. Gonna copy that file name, paste it over here. Alright. Now, for the next steps, we are going to have to open up the game info string table and actually modify the map name. So we're just going to leave this highlighted. Whoops, wrong one. And leave our cursor here because we will be back to that shortly. Let's go back to our root directory here. So, let's modify the game info string table. see there's a lot of information here, but we're not very concerned with that. We are concerned with just the string keys for these map names. So we are simply going to grab the last one. We are going to increment based off the newest. So this is going to be map name 218. And the name for this, which we will change in all languages just so that there's no confusion, is Needin-H. And we're just going to go ahead and copy that to every single one of these entries. And save. Now we are going to go back to the game info, and this is the map name key that we are going to paste in for our map. So now the map name will display correctly in game. Now the last steps of this, at least for the XML editing, is that we're going to be setting up the music. So as you could see earlier, the map came with 2 songs, which are set inside of the options XML. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open the maps BG info again inside of map info. And we're going to want to take note of that playlist key that was mentioned earlier. So it's 719 in this case. And we're going to go and open static string table.xml. So go back to here, and we have static string table. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that this ID is not in use. We're also going to move down to about where we care for the map names, which should be near the bottom. .719 is not in use. We're going to search Needin, so it takes us to where the map names are. And now we can see we're in the section that displays all of the map names. So we're going to scroll to the very bottom. Right, this one isn't as organized as my personal one is. So we're just going to go back to where we see Needin, and we're going to expand off of here. So, Needin, Circle, Station, Tunnel, blah, 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 Coliseum. So we're going to increment this. And we're going to change that to the key here. So what this is doing is this is making the name of the map visible in the jukebox, which will let us bind music to it. And this is just Needin-H. Yeah, this is just for the display name in the jukebox. We have to define it in the static strings so that we can use it inside of the options XML, which will allow it to actually appear in the jukebox. There's a lot of wires to cross in all of this, so it can be a little bit confusing, but just bear with me and we'll see it through. So that's all you have to add here. It's relatively simple. Now we're going to be moving on to the next file. So we're going to go ahead and go over to euoption.xml, which is the last file we have to modify. So this file is basically the blueprint that the game will build the S4 client option.s4 file out of. This stores all of your jukebox information, so like the songs you have saved to certain maps, your resolution, any of your client settings, your mouse sensitivity, all of that is stored in this options file here. And unfortunately, when you're adding new maps, you need to actually delete this option file so that the game can rebuild it with the new information and include the new map in the jukebox. Otherwise, the map will not have music, and the map will not be able to be have the songs modified on it in-game in the jukebox. So what we need to do is come in here. We're going to take a look for Needin. Right. It's not quite spelled out the same way here, so we got to scroll all the way to the bottom. And this is what we care about in the EU options. So, here's the BGM list that shows all of the songs that we have access to, and then these playlists are the different maps that we can assign the songs to. So, what we want to do is first we have to add new entries for the new songs we just added. So we're going to copy the latest line, which in this case, in the previous tutorial, I already included this. So we're just going to increment off of him. This is going to be 18. And then we are going to do 19 for the two new songs that are added. Fear and Helix. We are also going to want to make sure that we have their OGG file names because we are going to have to swap them in over here. So we'll do Fear for the first one, and its name is just Fear. And Helix is the second one. And the OGG name is just Helix. Now, we're almost done. The only other thing that we really need to do is just add an entry for the playlist. So we are going to, again, increment off of the most recent one. Take this. This is going to be playlist 18 now. The order of the playlists themselves doesn't really matter because what you're going to end up binding it to is the map name key, which is the jukebox key that I mentioned, and then the songs that you want to play on it. So we're going to go back here. Our map name key is 719. That's the same one as in the BG info over here. And it's the same one that the name is being pulled from for the jukebox in the options here. So we are going to set that. And now we are going to change what songs are played since it's copied from the last one. So we want it to play Fear and then Helix. So we will just do Fear and Fear. You need to do this twice. The first one is the client defaults, and then the second one is whatever is currently set. So in this case, we want the default and what's currently set to be the same, otherwise there will be nothing set there. So we just need to do that again. Helix, Helix, and then those are the songs set. So now, very easy, last couple steps. To finish this off client side, we want to move over here. Go back. Here's all the files that we just modified. And now we just need to put these back into their corresponding folders. So, since we're already on XML, we will put EU game info in first. Overwrite. We'll go to language. We'll do EU option. Overwrite. Static string table. We'll go inside of the XML folder and place the last one back in. That's everything changed client side, except we do also still need to remove this in order for it to rebuild the options file with everything we just added with the new map. So goodbye, S4 settings. I hardly knew ye. Now that's everything set up client side. To finish this off, there are a couple things that need to be added server side. So we're actually going to go over to the server files real quick. You'll usually see a setup like this. Some versions have different folders for each of the different servers, you know, game and exe, or game and auth. In our case, it's all just combined into one. So we just want to go to the data folder. And first off, we need to replace data, language, XML, and the static string table. The game info static string table, my bad. This one right here, not the regular static string table, but game info static string table. So we are going to copy that, place that here, overwrite. Next we need to replace game info itself. So outside of language we go back to data, XML, and then we want to navigate to our old folder, grab _EU game info, copy that, paste that here, overwrite. That's both of the XMLs replaced that we need. Now we just need one final thing, and that is to just add the map info definitions to the server. So we're going to go into resources map info. We're going to go back to the mod folder, and we're going to copy the map infos from the mod to the server. And now the server knows what those are. Now, because we made these changes, the server does not update live, so what we need to do is close the server down and just go ahead and run it again. Alright, now with that, if we go ahead and connect in game, everything will be working. So let's go ahead and do that. As mentioned, the settings are going to be messed up because we removed the settings file so the game could rebuild it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and sign in. And now, if we go to settings, we check the jukebox. Hey, would you look at that? The songs that we added are here now. They're automatically alphabetized, which is nice. And on top of that, the new map that we added is now here. So, go ahead and test in game. We set the map for DM. So let's go ahead and see if we have it now. Yes, we do. We have the map for DM right here. In this case, let's go ahead and fire it up. Go ahead and start. As you can see, everything appears to be working correctly. And if we go into the stage, it's a little bit darker than it should be because of my default settings. Like if we back out and change those, you'll be able to see a lot more easily in here. But otherwise, yeah, this is the map. So, that concludes the tutorial. Thanks for watching.